Bernie so far has won all 3 primaries that he's participated in. The latest, he won in Nevada with a commanding 20-point lead. Bernie Sanders is the one candidate who is consistently getting the most votes of any of the candidates. And yet, neoliberals are still pushing this line that Bernie can't win, again, despite the fact that he's getting the most votes. So if he keeps getting the most votes, and if polls show that the vast majority of Americans support his policy positions, like Medicare for all, raising the minimum wage, taxes on the wealthy, what does this argument about electability really mean? Part of the logic of neoliberalism is that it doesn't need to convince anybody of its political views. It takes the logic of neoliberalism for granted. So when a neoliberal engages in an argument, they take their position as, they just take it for granted that everybody agrees. And you see it every time some corporate media talking head opens their mouth. Among the assumptions that they make are that the free market is a good thing, that markets can solve any problem, including the problems that free markets cause and are helpless to stop, like the housing crisis, homelessness, and climate change. That free markets are inherently democratic because, $1, 1 vote. These assumptions are all wrong. And a Sanders nomination as an open socialist is a challenge to these lies. Free market capitalism causes poverty, climate change, and needless death due to lack of healthcare coverage, due to workplace injuries and fatalities, from pollution of our air and water. And capitalism saps the life out of the working class for the profit of the capitalist class. And it relies on systems of oppression to keep it in power. Systems of oppression like patriarchy, misogyny, racism, homophobia, transphobia. So capitalism is really only a good thing if you're already a capitalist. Especially an old, white, cis male capitalist who's going to die before the climate really hits the fan. And markets don't solve problems, not really. Corporate profit is a huge inefficiency that leads to some of the worst health outcomes in the industrial world. And we pay more for that. Markets are not inherently democratic because laborers need to sell our labor for a wage so that the capitalists can get a profit. Our labor creates their wealth. So in that sense, the capitalist class gets to become more equal, like the pigs in Animal Farm. When Bernie keeps consistently winning the most votes, and when polls show that his policies are supported by north of 70% of Americans, what does this electability argument mean? What it means is that neoliberalism is a garbage ideology that has contributed greatly to the mess that we're in right now. And the neoliberals know this. And they know that they can't defend their position. They can't defend their toxic ideology. And so what they try to do instead is to change the subject. And we shouldn't let them. This has been Punk Patriot to Life, Liberty, and Pursuit of a Less Fucked Up Government. I want to keep making these videos every month. If you would like to support me in doing that, please check out my Patreon page. Link in the doobly-doo. Peace.